What if the reason you keep ending up with the same kind of person has nothing to do with bad choices? What if it has nothing to do with your judgment, your standards, or even your past? What if I told you that Carl Jung discovered something about the human psyche over a century ago that explains exactly why empaths are magnetically, almost physically pulled toward the same destructive patterns over and over again? And what if the explanation isn't psychological at all, but quantum? Stay with me, because once you understand this, the cycle breaks permanently. Carl Jung said something that most people read and immediately forget, but empaths should tattoo on their souls. He said, "We don't attract what we want. We attract what we are." And for decades, people misunderstood that statement completely. They thought it meant empaths were broken, that they were somehow choosing abuse, that they were complicit in their own destruction. But Jung meant something far deeper and far more disturbing than that. Here's what's actually happening. And trust me, by the end of this, you will never look at your relationships the same way again. According to Carl Jung's theory of the collective unconscious, every human being is connected to what he described as a shared psychic field, a vast invisible network of archetypes, patterns, and emotional frequencies that operate beneath conscious awareness. Most people move through this field without ever noticing it. But empaths don't just move through it, they feel it. They absorb it. They become entangled with it at a level that Jung called psychic participation, a merging of individual consciousness with the emotional reality of others. And this is where the quantum dimension comes in. Because what Jung described as the collective unconscious, modern quantum theory would recognize as a field of interconnected information. And empaths are not just receivers in this field. They are broadcasters. They are transmitting a signal every single moment of every single day, and the frequency of that signal determines exactly who shows up in their life. But here's where it gets absolutely terrifying. Carl Jung discovered that the signal you broadcast isn't coming from your conscious mind. It's coming from your shadow, the parts of you that you've buried, denied, suppressed, and refused to face. Jung called this the law of psychic compensation. Whatever you push into the unconscious doesn't disappear. It projects outward. It calls to itself. It magnetizes its mirror in other people. So when an empath who has unprocessed abandonment wounds walks into a room, they're not just a person walking into a room. They are a frequency broadcasting a specific pattern. And the narcissist, the avoidant, the emotionally unavailable, they don't find you by accident. They find you by resonance. Let that sink in for a moment, because what comes next changes everything. According to Carl Jung's work on projection, every person you're inexplicably drawn to carries a piece of your unlived self. He called this phenomenon the hook of projection. The narcissist doesn't attract the empath because they're charming. They attract them because they embody something the empath has disowned, the ability to put themselves first. The capacity to be unapologetically selfish, the willingness to take without guilt. These aren't qualities the empath admires consciously, but unconsciously, at the quantum level of their psychic field, they are desperately seeking integration with these shadow aspects. And the narcissist is doing the exact same thing in reverse. They are drawn to the empath's warmth, their depth, their emotional intelligence, because those are the qualities they have buried in their own shadow. Jung called this the syzygy, the fatal attraction between two incomplete psyches seeking wholeness through each other. But here's the devastating truth Jung uncovered. You cannot integrate your shadow through another person. You can only integrate it through yourself, and until you do, the pattern repeats. Not because you're unlucky, not because you're broken, but because your quantum field is locked on a frequency that keeps calling in the same lesson disguised as different people. This is what Jung called repetition compulsion at the archetypal level, and it's absolutely relentless. But here's where Jung's discovery becomes genuinely revolutionary. He found that awareness itself changes the field. He called it the transcendent function, the moment when conscious awareness meets unconscious pattern and something entirely new emerges. In quantum terms, This is the observer effect applied to your own psyche. The moment you see the pattern, truly see it, not intellectually but with full emotional recognition, the frequency shifts. The empath who realizes they keep attracting unavailable people because they carry an unconscious belief that love must be earned has just changed their broadcast signal. The empath who recognizes they keep choosing narcissists because they've disowned their own capacity for healthy selfishness has just rewritten their energetic code. The empath who understands that their need to fix others is actually a projection of their refusal to fix themselves has just collapsed an entire quantum pattern that may have been running for decades. Jung called this moment metanoia, a fundamental transformation of the psyche that reorganizes everything from the inside out. And when it happens, the external world has no choice but to reorganize with it. But here's the part that will absolutely blow your mind. According to Carl Jung's research on synchronicity, the universe doesn't operate on cause and effect alone. It operates on meaningful coincidence. Events are connected not just by time and space, but by significance. And when an empath shifts their internal frequency, the synchronicities that follow are nothing short of staggering. The toxic people begin to fall away, not because you pushed them out, but because the resonance no longer exists. They literally cannot find you at your new frequency. And simultaneously, new people begin to appear. People who match not your wounds but your wholeness, not your desperation but your sovereignty, not your shadow but your integrated self. Jung observed this phenomenon repeatedly in his clinical practice. He called it the constellation of the self, the moment when the psyche reorganizes around authenticity rather than trauma. And when this happens in an empath, it's exponentially more powerful because their sensitivity amplifies every shift. Here's what Carl Jung understood that most people will never grasp. You are not a victim of your patterns. You are the creator of them. Not consciously, not deliberately, but through the quantum architecture of your own unconscious mind. Every wound you refuse to face becomes a beacon. Every shadow you deny becomes an invitation. Every part of yourself you disown becomes a door that the wrong person walks through. But the reverse is equally true. Every wound you heal collapses a toxic pattern. Every shadow you integrate closes a door that should have been closed years ago. Every part of yourself you reclaim rewrites the signal that your field broadcasts to the world. Jung called this the opus, the great work of becoming who you truly are. And for empaths, this work isn't optional, it's survival. Because your sensitivity means you feel the consequences of misalignment more intensely than anyone else. You don't just have bad relationships, you have relationships that nearly destroy you. You don't just feel disappointment, you feel existential devastation. The stakes are higher for you because your capacity to feel is deeper. But that same depth is your way out. Because the empath who turns their perception inward, who uses that extraordinary sensitivity to examine their own unconscious patterns rather than absorbing everyone else's, becomes what Jung called the individuated self. Complete, sovereign, magnetically calibrated to attract only what matches their truth. And once that quantum field realigns, the cycle doesn't just slow down, it stops. Completely, permanently, irreversibly. Not because the world changed, but because you finally did. And that, according to everything Carl Jung spent his life uncovering, is the only shift that ever actually mattered.